I get back to it. Okay. It says, these are which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb, whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. Right? So the first fruits, meaning those that were, okay, in the beginning with Yahweh Shai to create all this, okay, they're going to be back with him at the end. Okay? And after, this world suffers, the Third World War, which is World War III, which is vastly approaching, okay? And before the Third World War, okay, you're gonna have this microchip being, mandated and implemented, okay, in everyone's lives, okay? And there's no man that's going to escape from these tribulations, man. So, everybody has to come and either submit to Esau or, refuse the chip and be outcasted of society, man. You got to make that choice. And really through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that's the only way you're going to be able to make that choice. Otherwise you're going to take it. You see? Let's see. It says in verse 5, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. Okay, whatever sins or transgressions they had committed, okay, the Most High is not going to hold them accountable for it because He already pardoned them, okay, through the act of Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, and those are the men, okay, that's going to be virgins, and what it means to be a virgin is after you come into this truth, right? Because you gotta understand, for you to come into this truth, you gotta become likened unto a baby, okay? And as you know, a baby, coming into this world, unless they're violated, by, demonic, someone with a demonic spirit on them, just violated sexually, they're virgins until, they grow up and, have desires unto, another person, whether it be, gay or straight, right? So the elect is likened unto that, being a virgin, okay, and being pure, okay, until Yahweh Shai come back, which Yahweh Shai is our groom. He's going to take us unto himself as a wife, so to speak. This is a lot, metaphoric talk, but if you have the spirit, you can follow, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. It says, verse 6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and peoples. Okay, so the nations that it's talking about right there, every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, okay, is the same as, that was in Acts. Let me go to it real quick. Okay, Acts 5. Okay, it says Acts 5:2 and 5. It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem. Okay, here's the crux. Jews. Okay, people skip over that part. You know what I mean? Because it sounds better to them to just say men, devout men out of every nation under heaven. And they make it sound like it's talking about, wherever they came from. They could have been Edomites or Elamites or, whatever. That he was talking about every nation under the sun, when that's not true. Okay? That's a misinterpretation. You're out of context when you interpret it like that. You got to really listen to it the way it's saying it. It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem. First of all, the only reason why men would dwell or come to Jerusalem, okay, because the Most High requires it. Okay, 3 times a year, he said. Okay, well, we're gonna get that. Okay, Deuteronomy 16:16, it says, 3 times a year, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before me. Did it not say devout men? Jews, devout men. Okay, so it's only talking about devout men. So right here it says 3 times a year in a year shall all thy males, which is a man, appear before the Lord. Lord is in all caps, meaning the Most High, Yahweh. Okay, that the Most High appear before the Lord, thy power, in this place, which is talking about Jerusalem. Okay, which he shall choose in the feast of unleavened bread. That's the first high holy day, right? And in the feast of weeks, that's the second high holy day. Okay, so it said 3 times a year. Okay, and the last feast is in the Feast of Tabernacles. So that's 3 times a year you're required to appear in front of the Most High, right? 3 times a year, right? So those are the 3 feasts that he requires you to appear in front of him, okay, in Jerusalem, right? It says, and every man shall give as he is able to, okay? Slocky, let me go back. And it says, and in the Feast of Tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Most High, the Lord, Yahweh Shai, empty. Okay? Every man shall give as he is able to, according to the blessing of the Lord thy power, which he hath given thee. Okay? So the Most High will give you, bless you with what you're able to give. Okay, so if no 2 men are blessed alike. Some men are, they don't have as much, and some men have a lot. So you bring according to what the Most High bless you with. If you have a lot, then much is given to, much is required, so to speak, right? So that's the 3 times a year that we're supposed to appear in front of the Most High. That's what these Jews were doing. They were keeping the law, statutes, commandments, okay, like the Lord, your power, requires you to do, right? It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, okay? And if you know anything about the Jews were the so-called Negro tribes, okay, which pertain to the American Negroes, okay, us here in the Caribbean, okay, and specifically the so-called Haitians, which are Levites, Okay, so you have the Jews consist of the southern kingdom of Israel. Okay, the American Negroes, the so-called West Indians. Okay, and the Levites. Okay, which are the Haitians, the priests of our people, right? It says, and devout men out of every nation under the earth. Okay, so let's go back to Revelation 14. Okay, and these are the men that are likened unto virgins. Okay, these are the men that's likened unto virgins in the scripture. I'm gonna read that verse again. These are they which were not defiled with women. And like I told you, the women represent these other philosophies, these other doctrines, and these other religions, right? Because when you come into this truth, you're likened unto a baby, like I said, and when you start serving these other gods and taking part in different religions, that's a form of spiritual adultery. So you're cheating on your espoused husband, which is Yahweh Shai, right? So that's what it's likened unto. Okay, these are they which follow the Lamb, which a man's wife is supposed to follow him. Okay, wherever he goes, right? He's the spiritual leader. He's the leader, right? So his wife would have to follow him wherever he goes. Okay, these were redeemed from among men. Okay, which Israelite men are scattered all over this planet. Okay, looking like the heathens, acting like the heathens, but only the elect of those men are going to return to the Most High, right? It says, and kindred, and where was it? Yeah, these were redeemed from among men. Okay, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. Okay, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they were without fault before the throne of the Most High. Okay, and I think I was at 6 when I went to Acts. Okay, it says, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. And that's why I went to Acts 2 and 5 to kind of explain, the whole different nation that it's talking about, right? Saying, verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of the waters. Okay, and we know the Most High didn't physically make all these things, right? It was commissioned by him for Yahweh Shai and the elect to actually do the work. The blueprint, the plans for it was given by the Most High. Okay, just like the spiritual temple that Yahweh Shai is building through the Hakwadash right now. You see men on the highways and byways, okay, pushing this truth, and those that come into the fold are part of the foundation, part of the framework for the spiritual temple, the third temple that's being built, man. This third temple is a spiritual temple. It's not made by hands. So you really shouldn't be going to church and sitting in a pew and listening to that garbage they spill in your air, man. That's trash. it's not going to get you nowhere. But if you don't repent, you're going to be destroyed, right? It says, verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the foundations of water. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations, she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. See that? So Babylon the Great, which is America in the scriptures, right, is the one that's forcing or causing all these other nations to follow her lead, okay, into fornication, spiritual fornication. And you can say these nations that she made to drink of the wine are the Israelites that she has in her possessions, okay, and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, as well as the heathen nations, okay, that she's tainted with the whole idea of, you know, the Most High looks like, you know, the so-called white man. You know, the philosophy that all the judges look like, you know, Edomites. Okay, that's one of the things that, you know, Babylon the Great has done. Okay, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, okay, and right there it's talking about, you know, the RFID microchip, man, which Esau's preparing, okay, to push on this earth, man, to cause everyone to, you know, serve him. And that's going to be his undoing when he tries to implement that. Okay, that's when the Most High will come down and interrupt him, okay, and put him out of power. Okay, and that mark, okay, three types of mark actually. Okay, one that distinguishes like an unto Cain. Okay, the Lord put a mark on him to, you know, show that he's the wicked. And you see that mark, you know, falls upon these people right here. Like, speaking of the devil, right? Oh, all right, on time. You know, that's one mark. Okay, then there's another mark. Okay, these men are down here to walk the mountains, the mountain trails, man. We have vast mountain trails in the interior of this island. Okay, wildlife, waterfalls, boiling lakes, you know, dormant volcanoes, sulfur pits, you know, emerald pools, you know, a lot of nature on this island, man. Tons of species of frogs and, you know, species of snakes, you know, trees and, you know, herbs. And Lord willing, you know, I don't know if Esau will allow, but I may sneak a couple herbal trees if I can, some leaves at least, you know, to make some teas and stuff when I get back home. Soursop. If y'all brothers know what soursop is, soursop is highly effective against cancer. And for the most part, soursop grows wild down here. There's a little less of these things because Hurricane Maria really did pretty nasty work down here. So a lot of even in my dad's garden, a lot of his coconut trees, mango trees, and soursop trees and guava and papaya trees that he has in his garden. Lord willing, I'll make a quick video of it. They got knocked down, so he had to replant a lot of it. Okay, but it's pretty much everywhere on this island, man. Today it don't have the market open today, but I walk around and make a video of some of the fruits and some of the stuff that we eat here. Anyway, I was talking about the mark. So the second form of the mark, okay, is the mark in Ezekiel. Let me go to it real quick. Ezekiel 9:4, it says, and the Lord, okay, Yahweh, the Most High, said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem. Okay, Jerusalem is a city, a people before it's a place. Okay, and set a mark, put a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Okay, so the men that are sighing and crying, okay, about the abominations in the midst, okay, are the men on the highways and byways, man. That's who he's talking about. Okay. It says, and verse 5, it says, and to the others he said, in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Yeah, kill. Okay, unalive. Okay. Let not your eyes spare. Okay, neither have ye pity. Okay, don't spare. Don't Hey, just do what I tell you to do, man. Just like Esau plans to take y'all out, the Most High is gonna plan to take y'all out, because the Most High's plan is Esau's plan. Okay, he's the one that gave Esau the plan to take y'all out, because y'all are stubborn, stiff-necked. Y'all won't listen. Okay, when he called y'all did not turn to him. Okay, and it's like that everywhere you go, man. Jake is stiff-necked. So, the Lord has to get busy on these Jakes down here too, man. A lot of them, don't understand why they go through, the conditions that they're in. Though, island life is not like the States life, but, these people are very impoverished down here. Lord willing, I go to my village and just, walk around and show y'all what I remember as a little kid, So it says, go through the midst of the city, which is Jerusalem, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Okay, and that's the second mark. Okay, verse 6, it says, slay utterly young and say utterly old and young, both maids and little children. Yeah, little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Okay, and the Lord deals with the men. Okay, and if that man has a family and he has a wife and children, if they're following that man's lead, okay, and doing the righteous acts to the best of their ability, most likely the Lord, like he said in Genesis, and Abraham asked him, hey, Lord, if there's 20 righteous, would you spare the city? The Lord said, nah, I won't destroy the city for 20 righteous. He kept on going down till he got to about, I believe, 5 or even 1, I believe. Will he destroy the city? The Lord said, nah, I'll spare the city, man, just for 1. Hey, because the scriptures tell you 99 was safe, but that 1 wasn't. And the Lord left that 99 to go look for that 1. Okay? It's not his desire that any one of his elect to be destroyed, man. So you're that special if you're part of the elect, man. Okay? It says, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Okay, that mark is Thawa. Okay, Thawa, meaning exempt from judgment. Okay, and that's backed up by Revelations when it says that no guile shall be found, okay, in them, or they won't be accountable for any transgressions at that point, because their sins, their transgressions are forgiven at that point, right? It says, and begin at my sanctuary, that they begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, defile the house and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth. And they went forth and slew the city. Okay, so the Lord has judgment coming, okay, for even some Israelites that know they're Israelites, because they are teaching the wrong doctrine. They're encouraging, the lambs that Yahweh Shai give us charge of to care for, to be going down the wrong path, to take the mark, to take, that jump shot, and whatever else, to eat certain abominable foods, to call on the wrong name. These things ought not to be. You know what I mean? And the Lord is going to make his judgment known for those ancient men. All right? Let's jump back to Revelations. Okay, Revelations 9. It says, and the third angel followed them with a loud voice. If any man shall worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Now, indignation is righteous anger, okay? Which, after all the prophets have been on the highways and byways all these years, we've seen videos, we've warned you, we've told you that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, the judgments that are coming. If you still don't repent, the Lord has every right to destroy you, okay? And that's what it's talking about, righteous indignation. Okay, if you warn somebody, okay, time after time after time, you keep warning them, they refuse to listen, and after a while, you handle what needs to be handled, they can't blame you because you did give them a warning. Okay, so the Most High works in order, things in order. He does things in order, man. He don't just destroy you just because. He gives you warning first. Okay, and let's go here. Worldwide. Okay, worldwide is the Hebrew word for warning, and that's what we out here doing, man. Ezekiel 3:17, it says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman, okay, unto the house of Israel." Okay, and that's what we are. When we come out here, we're watchmen. Okay, we're watching for the dangers. Okay, um, watching for the dangers, and it's likened unto King David. When he was out there in the field, watching the sheep of his father's house, and a bear came. And he slew the bear, or a lion came, and slew the lion. You know, that's what a watchman does. He watches out for his sheep, the flock of, the Most High, right? That's our job as prophets, man. Okay, Lord willing, I'm of those men. Okay, it says, "I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me." We're giving you warning from the Most High. This is not something that we're doing out of our own will. Okay? So just keep that in mind when you come and, you come against us. You're coming against the Most High. You're showing him that, you don't appreciate him. You don't care about it. Any person that has disdain for the prophets of the Most High hates the Most High too, and his son. So you can't say with your mouth that you love the Most High, but then, hate his prophets. The two don't go together. Yahweh Shai said to you, "Me and my Father are one." Okay? So just like the Most High, his prophets, and Yahweh Shai are all one, of one mind. They say the same thing. They walk the same way, meaning they act the same way. Okay, they have the same judgment. Okay, so all these things are one. Okay, there's no division among the Heavenly Father, his Son, the angels, and his men. Okay, they all have the same mindset. They all see the same things. They all speak the same things. That's why we can't be adjoined to different camps, because they don't speak the same things. They don't visualize things the same. You see? So let's get back. All right. It says, "And the third angel following, Slaki, I'm at 10. And it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." Okay? So the missiles, okay, which these other nations possess right now, I believe the number right now, the Most High has endowed the United States and Russia, okay, to have almost the same amount of intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? I believe the United States have 5,000 and some change, and Russia has around 6,000. Okay, so they're pretty evenly matched when it comes to missiles. But the Lord is going to put on the hearts of the other nations that Russia is a guard to turn, and the allies of Babylon, of America, to turn their missiles against her and destroy her and burn her with fire. And those of you that don't repent are going to be stuck here when these missiles come. So that's what it's talking about. And especially those of you who have taken the mark of the beast, okay, which is the RFID microchip. Okay, y'all gonna be stuck here to receive y'all judgment, man. Okay. It says in verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they shall have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. Okay. And if you're an Israelite that takes the mark, we gonna know who you are in the kingdom, man. We gonna know who you are, and that shame is going. You gonna feel it. You gonna feel it, right? It's starting to come down now, but if you see off in the distance how murky the distance look, that's rain coming down right there. You probably could hear it, but suddenly it started raining out the blue. Start raining out the blue, and then it calms down and it stops, like within minutes sometimes. And it cools the weather down. It's one thing about down here is like a breeze. It's sometimes different parts of the day the temperature is different. The air is different. It might be hot and sunny, and then it rains and it becomes like humid, and then like after that it's like cool and breezy. Sometimes all in 1 hour. But it's beautiful out here, man. It says, verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that kept the commandments of the Most High, and the faith of Yahweh Shai. Okay? And Lord willing, I'm of those men that keep, the commandments of the Most High unto the end, man. There's something I ponder on every day. Pray about, that the Lord keeps the spirit on me to keep going no matter what I go through, as well as my brothers, wherever they may be. That's my family, man. Other than that, I don't have no family, in the spirit anyway. I may have family according to the flesh, but their spirits don't align with, what I say and the way I live my life. So, it is what it is, and that's by design, okay? The Lord don't deal with, a lot in numbers. Okay, this is Jeremiah 3:14. Okay, it says, turn, O backsliding children. Okay, and backsliding is a term that describes a lot of our people who'd rather, side with the oppressors. rather call themselves all kinds of names besides Israelites, who claim all kinds of nationalities besides their own nationality, and allow the heathen to claim their nationality, okay, who love their oppressors more than their liberators, okay. And that's a lot of our people, man. Stockholm syndrome is a real thing, okay. It says, turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for I am married unto you. And, you know, when a man is married to a woman, she can't separate from him. Okay, and he's stuck with her unless she commits adultery, which we did. That's why the Lord scattered us throughout the four corners of the globe, man. He gave us a bill of divorce. You know, it says, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and will bring you to Zion. Okay, one of a what did it say? One of a city, man. Okay, and a city can be really large, man. You can have upwards of, you know, 1 million people in one city. Ain't no telling. But only one of a city. Okay, two of a family. Right? That's very low numbers, man. Very low numbers. So, you know, and that's perfectly righteous, man. Hey, because we're not gonna have any rebels among us, you know, when we get into the kingdom, man. It's not gonna be no rebels. It's not gonna be no unwanted you know, rejects among us, man. Everybody's gonna be perfect in their right mind and serving the Most High, man. Okay. So, with that being said, man, I'm gonna wrap it up. Lord willing, this was edifying. Okay. And, you know, until next time, okay, you're gonna say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Allah Hayinawa, Amanawa Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham, Yahweh Kakadash. Okay. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Okay. Shalom, DTA. Okay. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.